I had to pause for a minute because I realized I put the power box away and I want to show it to you. So I had to go get it. So this is what we got. And there's a few other things I've done since my last update. So let me turn the camera and show you what we got. So we got a nice new Humminbird. This is a Helix 5 DI model, which something to think about when you're ordering the mounts for it. The DI model, get a good view of that transducer. That is a different transducer than the non-DI model has. So the down imaging has a bigger transducer. RAM mounts, which is where I got these lovely mounts from. These are the ball mounts, ball, and then track mount. So it's a 1-inch ball on the bottom here. I do need an adapter because FeelFree has a proprietary track that nobody's stuff fits in. So you have to go to, actually Yak Attack sells them. If you have a FeelFree or a, what is it, a Big Fish, or I forget what else Lure FeelFree makes. This is the Lure. I'm saying if you have the Lure or the Big Fish, or there's another kayak they make as well, you're not going to get these mounts with the right size fitting on it. You're going to have to get the adapters. But Yak Attack does have them. They're not expensive. You get a pack of 6 of them, 6 or 8, I forget what it was, for a reasonable price. So right now, what I've got is these are the ball mounts. Let me take one apart and show it to you. Try to pay attention to what the camera's showing you, as opposed to wandering all over the place. So this transducer will swing nicely away out of the way. To take it off, this will just unscrew from here and should be able to pop it off. But you know what, I'm probably just going to leave it on here anyway. I did want to show you what the bottom looks like. Sorry, I took that camera away. I don't want to drop parts on the ground out here. This is what it looks like. This piece is the one that comes with the RAM mount, and this piece is the one that adapts it to fit into this track. So as you can see, it goes in and out pretty easily. I do need to leave this one off because I forgot to put, there's a little tiny black washer that I didn't know what it was for until I realized it was to create a tighter fitting in between the two locking pieces. But anyway, there's that one. That's the one for the transducer. So when I'm sitting in my chair right here, nice seat, I've got an upgrade in there that I'm going to show you in a second. That transducer will roll up and sit right here beside me. The only thing I've got to do is, I'm so right-handed, I always put my paddle on the right. I'll have to put it on the left from now on, because otherwise the transducer will be in the way. I won't be able to get to the paddle with the transducer down. Anyway, I put this stuff on the right simply because I'm that right-handed, and it just seemed like that's where most people put them. And that's the only reason I put it on the right. No other reason. Now, the transducer, let's talk about that for a second here. This is the mount arm that comes from RAM. They have an interesting problem on their site too, because you go on their site, you go to RAM mounts, get that out of there. You go to RAM mounts and search for a transducer mount, and you'll come up with 0 results. But they sold me this, so they need to update their search engines within their website to include all the products they sell. What they didn't allow for was, because this transducer is different, you can't really see it too well, but the hole here, the hole that this mounting bolt goes through, would not match up with the hole on the bottom on this piece, which is the bottom of the RAM mount. You can see RAM, says RAM right there. Didn't match up. You know why it didn't match up? Because it sits, let me see, let me get a good look at it here. It sits so close to this piece right here, and as you can see, you need to have an offset. So, a local Ace hardware store what I got was a series of neoprene rubber washers and nylon washers. It's hard to see. It doesn't want to focus. There we go. Excuse me. And put them together, and you have to have the clearance, or you won't be able to, or the transducer won't be able to adjust. There's no ratcheting. This ram piece comes with something of a ratchet cut in it, but right now I've just got the rubber up against the plastic here, and I've got rubber up against everything else. I just have one stainless steel washer on the end to otherwise that nut will eat into the nylon a little bit, and the nylon will eventually warp around it. I know that because I've used these nylon washers and spacers to mount things on my John boat. So right now what I have is I got a mess of cords, and I'm still going to have to, I don't want to cut anything at this point. I would love to be able to take this unit off of this kayak and use it on a boat. Also, even though Humminbird said this unit doesn't have an ice fishing mode, it actually does. The down imaging one has a flasher mode and an ice fishing mode. What they don't have is apparently an ice fishing transducer for it. I don't know. They seem to be confused about what they have and what they don't have, because I was looking for one that could be used for ice fishing as well. And they told me this one did not have the ice fishing function, but it does. It has the flasher mode, has a selection of open water or ice fishing in the main menus. So yeah, I don't know about that. I may have to use it with this transducer, but I'm going to show you the power box. I did use Yak power. So what I did is I added this. Let me unplug it first. This power port, that's a Yak power port, and it's got a little flip up cap just to help keep it protected. And this is the other side of that. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. This is the other side of that. Plugs in pretty easily. I attached that to the actual power cord for the fish finding unit. It comes with bare wires on the end. So a couple, if I can get a good look at them right there, a couple shrink wrap butt connectors. Connected all that up real nice. The transducer obviously has a very long cable, because you might want to put it on the front of a John boat or something, or you may need that cable if you're putting it on a boat. So I don't want to cut. You can't cut the transducer cable anyway. It's it's in there. There's no place to connect that. The only thing I could possibly do with it would be to, let me unplug it here. Unplug this. What is that? It's a 5-pin plug, because it doesn't have the speed thing. And cut the wire and then reconnect this plug. You don't want to mess with that, Don't want to mess with that. Anyway, so power port goes to in here, and there's the other end. There's the end of that cable. I got this one. This is an 8-footer, so it's long enough if I ever wanted to put the battery box in the back, which I may want to do if I add a second battery to it, and I'll show you that in a second. But the pedal drive, when I switched to pedal drive in this kayak, it put a bunch of weight in front, and I noticeably dropped the bow in the water. And putting even one battery in the box up here is going to add weight in the front of the kayak. So not sure if putting one, we'll see how it works. Anyway, here's the power box I've got. This is a which one is this? I got it at Bass Pro. I took the label off, so I don't remember what the brand. Oh, it's a Plano, right? Yeah, it's a Plano. Half the price of a Pelican. It's a little bit not quite as heavy duty as a Pelican, so I'm gonna have to be a little bit gentle with it, but it should be fine. Should be fine. It's got the ratchets here, or whatever you call these clamps that clamp it down. It comes with the foam inside. There's the new fuse, inline fuse I just added, and I bought, for some reason you can't buy one of these. I had to buy, how many did I buy here? 6, 5, whatever it is. Tried going online, they wanted to sell me 25 of them. I'm like, what am I going to do with 25 3-amp fuses? But I figured I'd just keep the extra fuses right there. And in the future, when I add, I'll be adding a mast light and maybe some interior lighting. They sell little button lights. Would be nice to have for fishing in low light conditions. The mast light obviously is a major safety issue if you're going to be out in low light conditions. Then I can add a second battery inside here. This also has, where are you? Where is it? Let me get it turned a little bit better. Yeah, I'm outside, so daylight. So there's another power port. I got this one just a little close to the top, so it's a little wonky trying to get it up in there. Second thought, I should have put it upside down, because that doesn't want to hold tight. And then, you know, there's the wires. There's nothing to it. But to do it, that was a battery I already had. It was part of the old sonar powered setup. Used to sit in here, that had my old fish finder on top and the transducer right on the bottom. So this box just sits down inside here. I ripped up an old life preserver to get this padding here, so I have something to kind of keep this from being bounced up and down. And I've got these are these wire, forget who makes these, but they have them in all the sporting goods stores. They're just wire and they're bendy, and when you bend them they stay and they're hold. So I got that. They'll just come around and latch onto here to hold this thing tight in there, as tight as possible. Eventually I may change that, but I wanted to make sure that before I did anything permanent here. Problem with this kayak is there's no place to mount anything in here. No place at all. That's water line, water line, water line. Everything you see in here is water line, is exposed. So there's nowhere to mount anything except for right here. Oh, where'd it go? Except for right here, and that's where my that's the latching system that holds the pedal drive unit in place. So, you know, I've got those 4 screws in there, sealed up, silicone. You know, I mean, I could use this surface as a mounting surface, but I figured, you know, I left this out in the rain last night without the cover on it, because the cover ripped last time I took it off. So I had got a little water inside it already. Now, I've had an issue with this. Anybody that's looked at my videos in the past, you know I've had an issue with this. This rubber deck is mounted onto a kind of a hard plastic thing, and it's screwed into receiver plugs that are molded into the plastic of the kayak itself. And at some point, either I did it or somebody else did it, drove a screw through sideways and put a hole in that plug. And I've used a bunch of silicone. I had a little water in there today. I don't know if it just got in. This isn't exactly watertight, this hatch up here. It's the only hatch on the darn thing. Who knows where it got in this time. I had the cracks here and underneath this mount that I had to repair. There's a little hole up in here. This one of these had a little bit of a leak to it. So, you know, here's the thing. Kayaks, the interior of a sit-on-top kayak isn't necessarily going to be dry. A little bit of water is no problem, but I had that problem where I actually flipped this kayak because it took on so much water, and it did it rather quickly. I figure what happened was, because this seat is adjustable, well, if I can adjust it, Oh, I think I got it in there too tight this time. Tighten up these straps under here to hold it down. It needs a little bit more play. I'll fix that in a minute. Let me see, there was a couple other things I wanted to show you. I got, for this seat, and you can see it right there, that is 1/2-inch neoprene foam. I bought a roll of it for just about 30 bucks. And I put that, these covers come off fairly easily. This top, the back, seat back is just Velcro straps, you know, just there it is coming off. And so I cut a piece of foam to fit inside here, and I cut a piece of foam to fit inside here, and this seat is a lot more comfortable. There it is sticking out the front a little bit right there. Seat is a lot more comfortable than it was when it came from the factory. It's got that extra neoprene padding in there, and that's important because when using the pedal drive, which I don't have here right now, I'm going to show you that in a second. I did something with that too. Actually, yeah, let me show you in a second. Something to think about. If you're converting one of these kayaks, let me go back to looking at me, not that I'm better looking, but you're going to buy one of these kayaks. I'm over 6 feet tall, about 6'1", roughly, and the manufacturer, FeelFree, sells a seat adjuster that allows you to move this seat forward quite a bit, which I installed and then realized that I was not getting enough straightening of my legs because I was sitting too far forward and leaning back, and it just wasn't working. So I took it out. I uninstalled it. So I have it. If I ever sell the kayak, I'll sell it with it because I might sell it to somebody shorter who needs it. But if you're 6 feet tall or taller, you may not want that seat adjuster. You might want to buy it, you know, try it without first is my suggestion. Try doing it without it first. Let me put this on pause.